A lot of positives, but a tough start for the Pilot Point Bearcats. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Pilot Point Bearcat Football Show. As the Bearcats fall in their opener against Bonham 7-6 in a game that honestly, Pilot Point did so many things right, and there were 2 or 3 instances where it felt like they were about to really solidify and nail down the game. And this is the process of winning, as they made a couple key mistakes at just the wrong moments on offense. You had a missed extra point. You had a missed field goal. You had some missed assignments just at the worst time possible. Defensively, you dominate for 95% of the game, and then you just have one drive where you made a couple mistakes. And that's, again, that's that process of winning. But on to the next one, and Pilot Point will be taking on Callisburg. As always, we want to have your questions, thoughts, or comments. Email them to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. We're also still looking for some Pilot Point Bearcat sponsors, so please reach out to me again, Terry at S2SSport.com. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Roll, talking the loss to Bonham and the matchup to Callisburg right here on the Pilot Point Football Show. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO guardplus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Terry Bennett back here on the Pilot Point Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Wall. And, Coach, first game as the Pilot Point head coach, I know it was a tough one for you, but you played hard. You come up short 7-6 against Bonham. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I was really proud of the way our kids played. I mean, we played hard the entire game. And like I said, just had some mistakes that cost us from putting some points on the board. But I was super proud of our defense. They continued to play hard and kind of got on our heels there in the second half a little bit and gave up one drive to them. But overall, just glad with the effort we got from our kids.
Again, I know you're a coach and you don't win, and moral victories are sometimes get a little over exaggerated. But this was a moral victory game for y'all. I mean, this is a first game. We've talked about all the issues in the last couple of years against the bigger squad, and yet you go blow to blow with them.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to look for moral victories. It's just you really got to evaluate where we're at. And we're close. We're close to cleaning up some mistakes on offense and put 3 or 4 touchdowns up on the board. And, it was kind of the difference in the game, but, couldn't ask for better effort from the kids. So, I mean, we're happy with that. We want to continue to get better and let that effort translate to W's. But, we know what we got to fix, and we went to work on Monday trying to fix that.
Well, and we talked last week about that. That's part of the process. You're having to teach these kids how to win again. And part of that is you see that, hey, if you make mistakes in the game, it will hurt you eventually.
Yeah, it's just little ones. I mean, the mistakes are small and, it's by the entire team. I mean, it's different people at different times. So, yeah, I think we were able to show them on film. Yesterday after practice, watch some film, and hopefully be able to show them on film, what we need to do to translate those to W's. And, of course, put that week behind us and trying to work forward to, getting ready for Callisburg.
Tell us, what do you see with Callisburg when you see them on film?
Well, they're really good up front. I think they've got some good skilled kids. The quarterback's a dual threat guy, and they've got some styles in their skill. But their offensive defensive lines, front seven on defense especially, is really good and big. And a lot of those guys are back from last year, and they're really physical up front. It's going to present all kinds of problems for us.
Well, and that's one of the things we were talking about when we first started talking about, and you kind of looked at your guys and stuff, and you kind of pinpointed some issues, and size was a little bit of that. And with Callisburg, they've got a couple big old boys, 6'6", 6'4". How do you handle that in game when you have a size disadvantage?
Try to beat them off the ball, and try to do things to create some space between the big guys and us, and hopefully, get through there and get positive yards. And, but I think it really starts with coming off the ball and beating them off the ball initially.
As you're developing this program, and we've talked about this, it's not just about the varsity, it's about the sub-varsity. How much time does the varsity coaching staff invest in the sub-varsity?
We're trying to get as much as we can. It's always a challenge to how you're going to set up your practices, whether you're coaching one side of the ball or both sides of the ball with your staff, and then how you're going to get your sub-varsity, the minutes they need with those varsity coaches. But we're spending a lot of time with our junior highs every morning, and then, we're creating as much time during practices as we can to spend with our JV. And I think that's one of the things that paid off for them last week. And they won first week, and feel like that all of our levels are getting coached well and getting coached hard by our varsity guys.
No, and you've always been a big believer, especially with you basically kind of rebooting a program. Yeah, you want to win at the varsity level, but that foundation for down the road, that starts in the 8th grade level on up. Yeah,
it starts in 7th and 8th grade, and hopefully, by the time next year when they get to the high schools, the JV, they've got the base on for what we're looking for, our offense and defense and our philosophies, and everybody's kind of bought into that. Then it's just more of being able to game plan and fine tune it, worry about the weight room and the other things that you need to be successful. Right now we're pouring everything into them, X's and O's wise, to try to get on offense and defense, the things that, they're behind on, but you hope to get that in at the young levels and be able to do other things that help you develop your program as you go.
For you personally, how nice is it to be back down in the 3A world after game one?
Oh, it's good. It's nice to be back in the area, familiar with the coaching staff, the area coaching staffs and stuff. Just makes it a little bit easier, and being able to see those guys that you've been around with a lot of your career on Friday nights and deal with them on Thursdays during the week, stuff like that. It's been great.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe.
Want to thank Coach Worrell for joining us, as he does each and every week here on the Pilot Point Bearcat Show, or he will each and every week. Man, again, tough start, so many positives. I legitimately think that Pilot Point is ahead of where I thought they would be. And I think that that's a good thing. I think you just now you need to be able to correct some mistakes at key moments and pull off a win. And I just feel like you get that first win, you're going to see the ball start to roll, and that ball is going to start rolling faster and faster downhill. But it is going to be tough. I mean, Callisburg is a tough team. Lindsay's a really tough team. You've got Howell, then you've got Dallas Madison to start district. Now, again, though, as we've talked about, if Pilot Point can get to district and be healthy and start having some positive offensive movement, and the defense is still playing good and you're scoring points, this is a district that a playoff spot's there. When you look at the district, Dallas Oak Cliff won last week, Palmer won, Pottsboro won, and Whitesboro won. And we know Whitesboro and Pottsboro, those are the two, in my opinion, that are the top of this district. It's where Palmer and Pilot Point and Madison and even Dallas Life Oak Cliff fall. And so for Pilot Point, it's just going to be interesting to chart this season as you're kind of rebuilding, resetting the program, but you're wanting to be successful in year one as you do it. Again, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, email them to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. We're still looking for Pilot Point sponsors. So again, Terry at S2SSport.com, or you can text me 469-605-3658. Also, our 3A state show, Sideline to Sideline. You can hear that or watch that each and every week on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@L4Media or on our podcast only, or audio only podcast, I should say, S2SGrantandTerry.com. That one usually goes up Wednesday afternoon, maybe Thursday morning, just because we record on Tuesdays. I've got to edit the video ones, and that's 3 shows because we do a 4A, 3A, and 2A. And then also Wednesday is my busiest coaches shows day, and it's the one I get up the earliest. So my turnaround from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning a lot of times is only about 4 hours sleep, and then we start recording. So I usually wait on the audio till later in the day, but that will be up. So check that out if you're wanting to get back into the 3A stateside world for Pilot Point. All right, that's going to do it for week 2, week 3. We'll talk about it next week right here on the Pilot Point Bearcat Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.